This is a tale about a unique village from ancient Africa that suffered from a terrible generational curse. So grab your seat and let's see how they escaped their destiny. But before we get started, please subscribe to this channel if you are new here. We have an amazing community and would love for you to be a part of us. Hidden in East Africa, within dense and isolated forests, dwelled the town of Kropong. The people of Kropong were mainly farmers and hunters, and they led a lifestyle that was deeply intertwined with nature. The farmers cultivated crops like maize, cassava, yams, while the hunters ventured into the surrounding forest to hunt for game and trade. The communal bonds in the town of Kropong were very strong, with the townspeople supporting each other through barter trading and other communal activities. One thing about the people of Kropong was that they were very wary of strangers. Maybe it's because they lived isolated from the rest of the world. Perhaps that was why they were always on edge when they saw strangers, especially those from unknown ethnic groups. One scorching afternoon, a male traveler in his late 40s stumbled into the town of Kropong. Dust clung to his clothes and his face bore the mark of a very long journey. He was desperate, hungry, and parched, so he approached a group of women fetching water from the village well, and then he asked, "Please, may I have a drink?" The women of Kropong exchanged wary glances. The traveler's attire and accent were unfamiliar, so they said, "We don't share with strangers." The traveler was very disheartened and sad at this point, but he was so hungry, so he entered into the town of Kropong, hoping to find help. The traveler saw a group of hunters returning from a fruitful expedition, and he pleaded with them to spare him some meat so that he could cook, but they totally ignored him. The stranger led around the village, and soon rumors of a stranger spread like wildfire through the town of Kropong. And then the men of Kropong gathered around the stranger, and then they said, "Get lost. We don't feed outsiders. We don't mingle with outsiders, and we absolutely don't need you here." The stranger tried to beg to communicate with them, but then they beat him mercilessly and they laughed at him with such cruelty. So filled with sorrow and anger at their brutality, the stranger placed the curse on the people of Kropong. "May your once fertile lands turn barren. May hunger gnaw at your bellies and despair cloud your hearts. For 30 years you shall suffer the consequences of your cruelty." The people of Kropong, blinded by their arrogance, mocked him further. Empty threats from a nobody, they sneered and laughed. But little did they know that the man before them was a priest of the gods, and their world was about to be turned upside down. So, are you enjoying the story so far? Please like the video and drop some love emoji in the comment section below if you are appreciating how the story is unfolding. You see, the first 2 years passed without problems. The rains fell on schedule, crops flourished, and the hunts were always bountiful. The people of Kropong would gather once in a while to laugh at the stranger's curse as a mere rant from a madman. But as the third year came, a sinister shift occurred. The rain ceased, and the once lush lands cracked under the scorching sun, and the crops withered. The forest died along with many animals that dwelled in it. A serious famine gripped the land of Kropong. Years of hardship followed. The mothers were driven with desperation and they resorted to unthinkable acts. Fathers, desperate to feed themselves, abandoned their homes, and the once vibrant community was reduced to a shell of its former self. 10 long years crawled by, and each day was a struggle for survival. One day, a young hunter named Agam, known for his courage and resourcefulness, couldn't bear to see his people waste away any longer. You see, there was a part of the forest that was forbidden. The hunters of Kropong were not allowed to hunt there. That part of the forest was shrouded in ancient tales and strict warnings. Yet, driven by a desperate hope, Agam ventured into the depths of the forest. And after days of navigating the terrain, Agam returned to Kropong with enough meat to feed everyone, and Agam was hailed as a hero. Of course, he didn't disclose to them that he had hunted in the forbidden forest. And then the people of Kropong, they feasted their bellies full for the first time in years, but their joy was short-lived. The morning after their festivities, a monstrous sandstorm descended upon Kropong. The sky turned angry and the winds blew heavily. Houses crumbled, crops were uprooted, and fear stifled the air. The elders of Kropong, wise in their ways of nature, realized that this storm wasn't normal, and instead there had been an interference and a disturbance in the delicate balance of nature. So they consulted the seers of Kropong, and they revealed the truth. And the truth was that the forbidden forest held powerful spirits, and these spirits had been angered by Agam's intuition. So finally, all the people of Kropong realized that Agam had broken a forbidden rule. So they all turned their anger towards Agam, even though they all enjoyed the meat when he brought it. But guided by the seer's wisdom, the people of Kropong devised a plan to appease the forest spirit. Agam, filled with remorse, volunteered to undertake the sacred ceremony. For 3 days and nights, he knelt before a towering baobab tree in the heart of the forest, offering prayers and enduring the harsh elements. Slowly, the sandstorm subsided, but the curse of the hunger continued. And in the next 40 years, when all the generation that mocked the stranger had passed away, the people of Kropong still suffered from intense famine. A curse that was supposed to last 30 years had lasted for over 50 years. What's more, the people of Kropong were ignorant of the origin of the curse. One day, a seer in Kropong received a new prophecy. The famine of over 50 years was the consequence of the disrespect their ancestors had shown to a stranger who visited Kropong some years ago. The weight of this revelation fell heavily on the village. The old generation especially were burdened with guilt. They realized that their actions had not only brought immediate suffering to them, but had also condemned future generations. Do you think that the people of Kropong will be able to break their curse? Well, if you are curious to know how the story will unfold, then watch out for part 2. We promise to deliver nothing but the best. And please remember to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so that when the second part of the video drops, you will be notified. Also, remember to like it. Stay safe, guys. Bye bye. I'll see you soon in the part 2 of the video.